Hey there, Stampers, and thanks for joining me today. Today we are going to be making this stinking cute Scarecrow box. He's empty up here. He doesn't have a brain. He only has hay. And in our case, he'll only have candy when we're done. I got this great idea from my friend Regina Maginnis. And I have to tell you a quick story about her, because I love this story. At one of my meetings a few years ago, Regina actually won a Big Shot die cut machine. I know, how lucky is she, right? And then she gave me this great idea, which she said she cased, and I can't remember from where, so if you originally came up with this, be sure to let me know, and I'll give you credit for it too. But I love that she made this with the Big Shot die cut machine that she won from one of my events, because that's just a cool story. Thanks, Regina. Let's get started. Our box shape is box number 2 from the Big Shot die. It's one of the XLs, which means extended, because it's big. It's a good size. Lots of treats can go in it. This is Ivory Naturals cardstock. My original paper was 8.5 by 11, so 11 is the longest it will go. It doesn't completely cover the tab end, but it covers enough of it to close our box when we're done, and that's all we really need. Sandwich that between 2 XL cutting pads. Place that on top of the Big Shot die cut machine and crank her through. Not only does this give us our box shape, but it also has all the folds we need. So just reinforce the fold lines. The beauty of the box number 2 die is it needs almost no adhesive, just a tiny little piece on that tab. I use Stampin' Up sticky strip because that's really the best for holding together 3D boxes and projects. Just stick that right together. And then a tiny little bit on this bottom flap. And that secures the bottom. And that's it for the box. For our Scarecrow front and back, we need the top note die from the Big Shot. This is an 11 by 4 1/4 sheet. It's just a half a sheet of Ivory Naturals cardstock. This is a quick trick to make this real quick. Folded it in half like it was a card base. Put it on our top note die. This is a Stampin' Up exclusive. Love the shape. Sandwich between 2 cutting pads. Crank for the Big Shot. And then when you take it apart, we've got 2. While we have our top note out, I'm taking some of Stampin' Up's Comfort Cafe Designer Series paper. That's what we're using on the whole thing, and what I love about it is you actually get to see the back of the hat, so you actually get to see the double side of it. I always feel bad about that side that goes down. I have cut 2 more Big Shot die cuts from the Comfort Cafe Designer Series paper. One of them I'm going to fold in half, and the other one I really only need just less than half of. I'm just cutting that. That's going to be the top of his hat. And I'm going to cut off that little point at the very top, so we can reuse this later. So this becomes his hat. Now, I want my hat to be a little shorter, so I'm actually going to just trim off the bottom edge of this. I'm going to put one aside. So next I'm going to take some early espresso ink and a Stampin' sponge. And I'm sponging the edges of all of the pieces we have so far. We're going to work on assembling this hat, starting with just some snail double-sided tape adhesive from Stampin' Up. I put just a little bit of adhesive on the front of the hat. We'll put the brim right to it. That is eventually going to go onto his little face here. We're going to punch our bird. We're not flipping him, we're punching him. Out of the same Designer Series paper as the hat, just a different pattern. And it's double-sided, so then I can just flip the wing over and he goes. And you can, I'm not going to put this on, but you can if you want to. Sponge bird. 1 Stampin' Up dimensional on under that wing, and that's going to stick it to the bird. 2 Stampin' Up dimensionals on the back of the bird, but wait, don't stick them down quite yet. I'm going to cut a tiny little piece of this tulle from the Stampin' Up mini catalog. And that's going to go under the bird. The bird is actually going to hold that down. So I'm twisting that. See how I just did that? Just twisted it up so it's real tight here. And I'm going to stick that in between the 2 dimensionals. And stick that right on his hat. So the bird is actually holding down this tulle. And I'm just trimming off a little bit there. I didn't want it quite so big. 2 half-inch circles for his eyes in black. And those layer on 2 white 3/4 inch circles. You can do snail adhesive or a mini glue dot for adhesive on that. Now I'm using the pennant punch from Stampin' Up on yet another design from the Comfort Cafe Designer Series paper for his nose. That's going to make his little triangle nose. I love it. It looks like a little bandana. So now I'm going to go ahead and use some snail adhesive and just put everybody down here. Put the eyes and the nose down. And then the Stampin' Up! White gel pen, because that is my favorite gel pen. I'm actually going to draw like the number 6 and color in the bottom for his eyes. And then we're taking the fine point end of the brush tip marker and we're going to freehand, true story, freehand a little crooked mouth. And it doesn't matter if it's crooked because it's supposed to be crooked. He's a scarecrow. Couple eyelashes, bring him to life, and a little stitching for his cheek. Maybe a little stitching up here for his forehead. Make sure it comes down far enough that when you attach your hat, you'll see it. I don't even know that you're going to see that. We'll bring it down a little more. And of course, to draw some stitching for his nose. Now a little pumpkin pie ink pad and a sponge dauber that sticks right on the edge of my finger. And all of these supplies are available in my online store. You can get to my online store by clicking on the link in the description of this video. And it'll bring you right to the project page where you can get all of the information on all of these products. Very lightly with the sponge dauber, a little circle here for his cheek and a little circle here. I didn't want it to be too dark. For his straw hair, this is actually the same paper I used for the bird from the Comfort Cafe series. These are 1/16 of an inch strips, really tiny. 3 inches by a 1/16 of an inch, just as narrow as you can get. And I just took a bunch of those together and I'm literally just crumpling them up. Kind of accordion style, but it doesn't have to be even. It's straw. We want it to be really kind of random. And I thought the thinner the better on these, so even if you want to trim it down even more than that, and it's not evenly straight, it looks even more authentic. So now I have my little hay pieces here. Drew a line of snail adhesive along the top of his head, and then I just put these down so the brown side was up. So I'm just sticking these little scraps, multi-lengths, kind of crisscrossed right over that snail adhesive that I put down. You can give him a haircut after too, if it's sticking in his eyes or his face. I'm going to trim down a little bit of this overhang on the top. Don't worry about the rest of it, we'll cover that up. And then some more snail adhesive on the back of his hat. I shall stick that right down. Oh my gosh, is he precious? Now I'm just going to put a little sticky strip on the front and back of this box. So both sides look the same. And then just peel off that red protective sticky strip. And then I just put on the back first. I guess it really doesn't matter. And then we'll put on the front. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot to put the back of his hat on. Whew. Remember that second piece of the long strip of top note? Real simple. Snail, stick. There. So he's pretty from the front and the back. Sorry about that, Scarecrow. Yellow protective backing. Stick on his beautiful little face. And he's done. And he is a complete little Scarecrow box. Isn't he stinking cute? Oh, tops on the stinking cute-o-meter. Again, you can purchase all of these supplies in my online store by clicking on this description or going to this URL. All of the dimensions will be on my blog as well. Same URL. Thanks for joining me today.